Hi, hello, and welcome. Welcome to today's daily U.S. pre-market analysis. I want to make sure that the participants are listening, can hear me. If you can hear me, go ahead and drop me a yes, if you don't mind, on the chat. Can you hear me, Kabaya? Can you hear me, Goshen? All right. So, fantastic. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. All right. So, let's get with it. Before we start, let me just give you our disclaimer here. So the information, context, opinions, which are expressed in the presentation and on the following slides are solely those of the presenter and not necessarily those of Vantage, and are solely used for educational purposes, as they do not constitute investment advice and or consultation on how a client should trade. Vantage does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information provided herein. All right, so what about me? I'm your host, Gio Benecourt, a senior VIP market analyst, market educator, and demonstrator of strategies with Vantage. I bring with me about 20 years of experience as a commodities trader, and I hold a Series 3 license and also a CMT candidate. So let's take a look at the agenda. Every single Monday, or every single day from Monday to Friday, half an hour prior to U.S. session, I will be conducting this webinar. We'll look at the economic calendar for the day. We'll look at what's moved the markets, and we'll identify key support, and resistance levels. And we'll do some trading with Fibonacci tools. Okay, real quick about Vantage. Obviously, we are a company that offer over 1,000 instruments, chart patterns, technical indicator and tools. What we stand for: lightning fast execution, award-winning 24-hour support, intuitive tools, and global connectivity. As a personal note, I like to share with you some of my trading plan. So basically, I look to identify clear, consistent trading habits. This will help me develop a daily routine. And in that daily routine, I'm looking to do no more than 15 or 40 trades per week. So looking at doing 15 trades per week, that'll be perhaps 3 per day. If I'm looking at the extreme, that's obviously doing 8 per day. But this will help me for time and simplicity, and perhaps depending on the environment or on the whatever outcome is we're facing. For example, now we are in earnings season. Just for time and simplicity, you may want to just decide to trade stocks, CFDs on stocks, because of obviously the volatility that will bring. One thing that you always want to keep in mind is be comfortable with the prospect of losing money if the market goes against you. Okay, and for that effect, one way to analyze or emphasize risk management is by using percentages wise rather than dollar value. So if you trading capital, your account is $10,000 per trade, you're looking to risk 1%, between 1 and 2%. So, and always have a 3-to-1 ratio. So if you're looking to 300, right? That's one thing that you always want to keep in mind when it comes to trading. You always want to have a target. That way you could actually finance some losing trades. All right. So that's that. Then obviously you always want to keep volatility. Keep in mind that volatility can spike and spreads can widen. So therefore you want to have always be using your stop loss. And before placing the trade, you want to be able to identify the trend, the timing entry and exit points, the risk management and confirmation and validation. This will help you control this FOMO, fear of missing out. If you don't have this prior, then you most likely will fall into this. So you always want to have your rules. You want to identify your trend, your timing entry and exit points, your risk management, and your confirmation and validation. Okay, that's something that you always want to do. All right, so with that, I'm going to stop this sharing. I'm going to now share my charts with you so we can start looking at what we can come in and speculate what the market will render us today. Jennifer, welcome. Samurai, welcome. All right, so I want to make sure that you're watching my charts. Can you give me a yes on the chat if you can see my charts? Can you see my charts, and drop a yes if you can see my charts, so we can get started here. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Fantastic. So in front of I'm always gonna be speaking about the same 12 assets. I'm gonna be talking about Nasdaq, S&P 500, Dow, crude oil, Nat Gas, gold, silver, copper, Bitcoin, Euro USD, Pound USD, and the dollar index. So these are the 12 assets that I will always be talking about on a daily basis. Now, time frames are going to be different. I will always use different time frames, but initially, how I do my analysis, I come in and look at a monthly chart, just to look at have an overall. At the beginning of the month, I like to have an overall view of what the trend is, and this is basically we are on an uptrend, and we can identify that basically because we are doing higher highs and higher lows. We are basically on a fourth month, consecutive fourth month to the upside. In the Nasdaq, we are looking to revisit that all-time high of around 23,843 on the Nasdaq. We are obviously in the earnings season, so we're gonna have a lot of companies coming out. In that perspective, let's take a look at what we are expecting for companies to come out and report. So we have Pfizer today reporting. We have Caterpillar reporting. So those are big ones. BP is reporting, and BP is reporting, and crude oil is sliding. So that's gonna be something of interest for us. So after I see that in a monthly, I see that we're on an uptrend. I automatically fall under looking for long into a daily pattern to see what has been the consensus. What is the range that we had yesterday after market fluctuation. So the range today, yesterday, we're seeing how we have engulfed Friday's move, and if you remember, Friday was a strong move to the downside because of the NFP reading. It was a bad reading, lower than expected. It was 73,000. So we saw obviously the momentum to the downside. But yesterday we saw how the market, even though it opened gap with a little gap down, it engulfed all of Friday's movement, and that gives us a sense that the market is picking up strength. RSI in the daily chart is below 70, so we're not in overbought territory. And from here, we can fall into an hourly chart, so we can come in and identify those possible levels of resistance and support, so that we can come in and find some trades. So in this hourly chart, right, we have jumping at us the 23,400, which yesterday was a second level of resistance that we were talking about for us to come in and look. So today, that's going to be our initial target. Then as secondary level of resistance, let's just use another level, like around half of that. So just 50 points higher than that. Then as support, we can either come in and analyze that the support that we are seeing that the market could give us are moving averages. I use the Bollinger Bands, right, as a possible level where we can come and identify those levels that are used. For example, the upper Bollinger Band, the medium line, or the 20-day moving average, or the lower Bollinger Band. I also use a 50-day moving average. So with that being said, initially, I will want to use that 20-day moving average and see if that will hold water for the asset. I'm going to bring up my second level of support, and 23,300 jumps at me since I have below that the lower Bollinger Band and also the 50-day moving average. So initially, as the market opens and we see that there's fluctuation to the upside, or looking for a momentum being picked up by the companies that are supposed to be reporting, BP, Pfizer, Caterpillar. So Pfizer being one in the Nasdaq, since it's a pharmaceutical. So will the market retrace somewhat and find support our 20-day moving average, or the median of the Bollinger Band, and then from here rebound and try to attempt to take out that psychological resistance level? So that right there is what I'm looking for. So initially I will be looking to buy the asset Nasdaq. Okay, here on the S&P 500, let's also use that upper Bollinger Band as a possible level of resistance. And then here, 6,400 being a psychological value, it's quite high. But let's see. In this case, for the S&P 500, I'm gonna use where the 50-day moving average and the lower Bollinger Band have intertwined, have crossed each other. Okay, so that's a place of interest for me. 6340 is going to be my second level of support for the S&P 500. So with this trade, with this asset, I'm actually looking, since we already have traded below the 20-day moving average, I'm looking for the asset to continue to give more of a pullback. Okay, initially I look to my left and I see that there is basically a volume cluster where the market had previously on this hourly chart, the asset had rebounded off, making a triple top, really. 3 candles hitting the same place, resistance level, and just bouncing off and just creating a volume node. So this zone, this area, which is basically where I have selected the levels of support, possible levels of support, we come in and find buyers here, and the market can reverse and just shoot higher. So let's see if that will be the case. Initially, obviously, if we were to open right now, we'd be opening down, but overall, I'm looking for the market to continue its trajectory higher. Then we have the Dow. So the Dow is basically sideways trading. We are looking at that. This will be a level that the market needs to break out of. So 44,400, that's going to be essentially a level of interest for us as far as resistance goes. And as far as my second level, I'm going to create a 100 point range between them. And we have the upper Bollinger Band right there anyhow. So that will be a level of interest. As far as support, well, let's use again the 50-day moving average and the lower Bollinger Band. Again, looking for market to rebound off of these levels and continue its trajectory higher, since we are in obviously this particular scenario of earnings season. As far as the second level, well, this parabolic movement jump from yesterday, this candle, for whatever reason, it stopped here. So that previous move is of interest to me. So I'm going to use that as a possible level of support. Okay. So again, as the market fluctuates lower when it opens, will it rebound? I'm looking for a market to do a reversal towards the level of support and rebound from here and move higher. Crude oil is trending lower. Okay, we spoke about yesterday how I was looking at crude oil to continue to move lower. It did so. So today, and on this hourly chart, the market is just holding off right around a psychological level of 66, which right now is below it, but let's just assume that it will respect that level, and 65.5 will be that psychological value that it will look to hold. Initially, if the market does continue to move to the downside, we're looking for 65 to be that particular level of support. So resistance, $66 psychological values is going to be my first level. And then that double top, or that swing high that we have in the last few hours, that will be of interest. Obviously, for if the market does happen to catch a bid, will it recover and just climb back up into that swing high? It's been there twice. Could it do it a third time? So initially, continue with the momentum to the downside. Now there's more rhetoric behind crude oil. Ukraine supposedly have attacked a depot of crude oil depot of Russia. We having obviously all of this scenario between Trump and India regarding their reliance on buying crude oil from Russia. So he doesn't want that. So let's see what will happen. But the consensus or the sentiment is for a push lower on crude oil. So we're selling crude oil, looking for shorts. Nat Gas has been on a rally really throughout London session. So it's been making higher highs, higher lows, uptrend. It is right there in front of us. So therefore, I'm going to use $3 as a target. Will it continue to move higher? That is for us to, it's just to be seen. Second level is going to be this previous volume cluster that we see to our left here. So around that level, I'm going to use that particular part. And then 293, since it was yesterday's level of support, I'm going to leave that there. And then the 20-day moving average as a possible level, second level of support. RSI is not overbought, so we're still having a momentum to the upside. Let's see if this momentum will fuel it will have enough impulse behind it, since it's sitting above the 50-day moving average, looking for a target of $3. So initially, short-term buying of Nat Gas. All right, then gold. Gold yesterday had a pretty good relative momentum to the upside. It has just given back most of those gains. Right. So, and the previous hour we did have a particular candle to the upside that engulfed 3 previous candles. So this move to the upside is strong. Okay, so I'm gonna favor being long again. Gold, 33.80 is going to be our one of our targets. But initially, we want to be able to see that the market is in a strong momentum to the upside. So I'm gonna select 33.75 as our first level of resistance. Our first target of our first level of support is going to be 33.64, and our second target of support 33.60. I'm looking for psychological values. Now, if we want to be able to use a tool that will come in and give us a projection of how this movement, this extension could look like, well, we can come in and use our trend-based fib extension tool. And in that case, we want to come in and measure the entirety of the move, right? Swing low, that swing high, and the next swing low. So we are able to measure this move and see if it has enough momentum behind it to reach our Fibonacci levels. So if you look at the value of 2360, it should reach 3370, which basically it has. It's retraced. It's rejected at level once already. So the next Fibonacci value is 38.20, and we have the golden ratio. So everything, if the reason that you want to use the Fibonacci sequence or the Fibonacci tools is because of the golden ratio. The golden ratio is an event, is something that is not man-made. It is man-discovered. And we find that particular value in nature, in architecture, in our own bodies. From your belly button to your toes or to your head, it's 0.618. So eventually, what this means is that if this momentum of this move to the upside is a positive one, it is sustained, then the market should reach that value. So that initially will be our target for today. Our first target will be 33.76, which is the golden ratio, but I have my resistance at 33.75.89. So that will be our value or our target for gold today. So looking to buy gold being long. Then we have silver here. Silver is just basically sideways trading a whole lot. All right. So let's see if today silver will break out of this range. 37.60 is really where I'm going to be looking at. So I'm just going to have a 10-cent range for silver. I'm going to use the lower Bollinger Band and the 20-day moving average for silver as my levels of support. So looking for silver to move to make another attempt higher. RSI again is not overbought, so we still have we still have space. We still have momentum. Obviously, we got to take a look at what that dollar indices might be doing. Then copper is an asset that, due to AI, it is going to be in high demand due to the electrical cars, due to basically everything in life. So copper is going to be of high demand. It is being sustained. We are in this hourly chart. We've seen basically within range, not too much of a strong move to the upside. So 440 jumps at me. That's where the 20-day moving average sits. So I'm gonna use that as a possible level of resistance, and the open Bollinger Band. Then, as far as support goes, I'm gonna look to my left and see how this area, this zone right here that we have, could possibly give me that level of support. It's been there before. The market has found that particular level, and then also this particular volume cluster, okay, right here. So within that range, I'm looking that if copper does continue to to trade lower, we'll come and find that support, those buyers around this area. So that's where I'm gonna set my level of support. And I'd initially selling copper, looking for a rebound, a reversal around those support levels. So let's see how much more of a pullback are we going to be seeing. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin moves by thousands, but it just is sitting within a 2,000 point range, 115, 113. See that? All right, actually 1,500 to be more precise. So I'm actually going to leave the same levels of support that I used yesterday. And then I'm going to come over here and use initially, again, the medium point of the Bollinger Band, and then the upper Bollinger Band as my second level of resistance. Looking for Bitcoin to make an attempt at reaching or closing this today around 115,000. So that's the consensus, looking for long. The currencies, taking a look at the currencies, the euro is holding by dear life above 115. So the lower Bollinger Band is going to be a level of interest. I'm going to leave 115 as just a very wide range or of support for it. Then as far as the resistance goes, well, contracting the chart, we can identify that this level, which is right around the upper Bollinger Band, is where the market has, or the asset has found a lot of resistance. 116 sits right above that, so let's just use that. And then as far as my first level, or my first target, will be that 20-day moving average, or the medium of the Bollinger Band. So initially, I'm going long, looking for the market to reach my 20-day moving average, or 115,570. The pound, well, the pound is having a pretty choppy session, staying within range for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, basically all of a London session. So there is it's a pretty tight range. So 133 jumps at you, doesn't it? It's a psychological. So that should be our first level of resistance. And then from here, let's just use this particular swing highs. Can we call this a triple top? Well, for a reason, the swing highs came towards that level. We don't have to be so technically defined when it comes to identifying some sharp patterns that technical analysis give us. Now we can work around ourselves around that. So here we have second level of support, lower Bollinger Band, first level of support, upper Bollinger Band, first level of resistance, or 133 psychological. So we're looking, that's our target for today. And we're going to be reaching those targets as we see that the dollar index declines. So in this hour, the dollar index has broken out of this range scenario, looking to push lower. So I am going to use not precisely where the 20-day moving average is, but where the market has come towards it before, and rebound off of. Okay, so that will be basically, that was a level of resistance, now a level of support, and that's where I'm going to use that, speculating that the market will come down towards it. Then the lower Bollinger Band can be one of those, a second level. As far as resistance goes, well, let's just see if the market will be able to revisit that swing high that it had a few hours ago, and 99 being a psychological value. But what we want for trade will be for the asset to drop, so we can see a momentum pickup on the upside on the other assets, basically on the currencies and on the metals. So once that I have this, right, I have this scenario. I was looking for this scenario to for the asset to push lower. We're about 4 minutes away from the bell opening, from the market opening. So now I can come in and fall into a 5-minute chart and see how the fluctuation of the market is. Okay. Now, again, we are in earnings season starting, so we are ready for the market to come in and give us some boost to the upside. Are we basically getting ready for that rebound off of our level of support in this particular time frame? Well, we want to wait and see what will happen. I mean, in the essence that the market does happen to rebound off of this, our targets are going to be psychological values. Initially, we have the 50-day moving average right above 23,360. So that will be a target for us to come in and take a look. Now, obviously, that a lot of people don't like to trade right when the bell starts. So you may want to allow 15 minutes for the dust to settle, 15, 30 minutes. It all depends on your risk tolerance, right? But let's take a look at other assets before the market opens. Then we have here our asset of the S&P. We have created a bottom here so far in the last 20 minutes. This area, this zone right here, the market seems to be just bouncing off of it. It seems to be finding a lot of buyers sitting here waiting for the market to do something. Is it gonna break out to the upside? Is it going to fall? Well, let's see what will happen in a few minutes. Let's take a look at the Dow. How is the Dow setting up? The Dow is also, again, looking for that move. I'm actually speculating that the Dow will have a more lower fluctuation at the open, right? And let's see if initially 44,240 will be a level where it finds that support, okay, and just reverses. But when the market opens, I'm speculating that the market will have a sharp, move to the downside. Crude oil. Well, crude oil seems to be having another thought about moving higher. So we have made that move to the upside above fluctuating. So we basically have done this. The market has come up, done its fluctuation to the upside, breaking up, basically violated our level of resistance. And now what it's looking to do is doing a throwback to what was a previously resistance, now support. And will it do this? Will the market do something like this and look to reach that our second level of resistance? Is that what the market is giving us before it fluctuates lower, before it trades lower? Well, we have that swing high, that basically that parabolic movement, but it was retraced real quick. So will that be revisited? That could be the case before it continues to move lower, or has it found that support and it will stay there. Then we have Nat Gas. So Nat Gas is trending lower. Okay, so as the market has opened, let's take a look at let's see if we are able to identify a move. All right, so the market has opened. We have the bell, and we are off to the races. So we are bouncing off of on the Nasdaq. We are bouncing off that level of support. Target is that 50 moving average. Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look and see if that will be the case. Well, the market seems to be retracing. When I move to the downside, how much deeper of a retracement are we going to see in this particular move? It's a quite deep retracement. All right. Will it come down to 23,300 and find that support? Is that going to happen for the Nasdaq? Let's see what the S&P is doing. All right, the same, pushing lower. The Dow has actually rebounded and moved higher. Crude oil, open gap down. So that move is to the downside. Then we have Nat Gas pushing lower. It opened gap up, but it's pushing lower. So target, it will be our first level of support. Gold, parabolic movement, moving to the upside. Target 33.75. Then we have silver is retraced. Let's see if it has found that level of support at the 50-day moving average. Then we have copper moving to the upside, higher highs, higher lows, and so in this 5-minute time frame, target 50-day moving average. Bitcoin sideways trading, consolidation, just waiting for a catalyst. The euro, no, just it's beginning to walk the upper boundary band. So that's a momentum move to the upside. So favoring longs. The pound, it started walking the upper boundary band, but it's retraced somewhat now on this particular movement. Let's see what the dollar index is doing. So the dollar index, it opened gap down. It's been closed. So let's see if it'll sustain itself around this level or will it drop. If it drops, we'll see a spike on the currencies and the metals. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. So Nasdaq, speculation is for this move to continue to move, to have gone lower and perhaps find the support here, or has it found the support already and it's beginning to retrace. So has this move already been done and the value has been reserved, respected, or are we looking for the market to retrace back into our first level of support and then continue moving higher? It's the very first moments of the market opening. Obviously, we need the dust to be settled, but the consensus is for us to reach 23,400. All right, and the S&P. Look at this candle. So this is basically consolidation and is holding off. This level of support is holding off right here. So basically 63.60, is that going to be enough for the asset to break out to the upside? Dow spike to momentum, 44,400, the target. Crude oil, let's see if it'll come down and rebound off the 20-day moving average, or will it retrace even deeper? Nat Gas, target hit, rebounded off of our first level of support. Talking about selling Nat Gas. Gold, we're reaching our target, initial target 33.75, 89. We are 33.75. So basically that has been met. So let's take a look at how much more momentum to the upside can be sustained in gold. Okay, so gold is about to hit our level of resistance. We are in that profitable mode, and we are about to hit it, and we should be, let's see, we're shy of about 14 clicks, so we're basically there. And let's see, once we hit that particular level, what can we speculate from gold? Will gold continue to push higher, then do a throwback, what was resistance, now support, and then from here look at our second target, which will be 33.80. While he's doing that right now, how much of a pullback are we going to be seeing? It's continuing to move higher. All right, so here our trend-based fib extension tool will work to show us. So we're going to measure the entirety of the move and the next swing low. So here we have our Fibonacci's sequence or values. So initial target 2360, That has been met. Second target, 38.20. And the ultimate golden proportion, the golden ratio of 0.618 or 61.8, which would be 33.79.93, right below our psychological second level of resistance. Now, this is profit taken. We've met our first target. We hit our second target. Okay. Let's see how much more of a momentum are we. We are in this time frame. We are overbought in the RSI, so momentum could fade out just because we are seeing right now that pullback, profit taking place, repositioning, and here comes the second wave. Now, will this second wave take us to the 38.20%? That's what we're looking to do. Let's take a look at other assets and we'll come back to it. So we see here silver. So silver, the momentum, let's see where it sit. So our first value has been hit. So each one of these values is a target. So can we come in, speculate that the market will continue to move higher and hit our second target, and the ultimate will be our Fibonacci golden ratio? Well, that could be the case. Well, let's leave that there. It seems to be going towards that direction. Copper. Well, copper had a pretty wild swing and is within range. It opened gap down, but it has been closed now. Will continue to move. Initially, let's go by eye. 50-day moving average will be our target. Bitcoin, parabolic movement, breaking up to the upside. So is it gonna be able to fluctuate above that 50-day moving average and then it push higher to 114,600? That could be the case. Euro, doji, market direction to the upside. Last 15 minutes, doji, change of direction. It's done. It did so at that moment, but is done a double bottom. Is it going to continue to pull lower, or is it going to reverse and continue its trajectory to the upside? The pound, all right, so it is trending lower. Basically, we are within a previous range, pretty wide body on that one. Well, dollar index seems to be having some to say, but will it sustain itself here, or will it drop? I mean, if we do see a drop in dollar index, a push lower, and revisiting this low, we'll see a recovery on the currencies, and most likely also that movement on gold. Let's take a look at our. All right, so we have found a rebound of that low. So we are retracing. We are doing a reversal. So target 23,400 on the Nasdaq. Oh, nice move to the upside. Target is going to be 63.78. When will that reach? I don't know. Will it reach? I don't know. Initial target has been met for the Dow, 44,400. Second target you can use. All right. So here, I don't think it's going to be that much. We already met that movement, so we can't use that particular, because the body is already strong movement to the upside. So profit taking is taking place. So 44,440 is our next target. Crude oil is just basically showing us that it's resilient. It is going to sustain itself around the $66 value, psychological. Let's see. Nat Gas, it did meet a swing low. It hit our target, but now is done a reversal. I'm looking at this to stay within range. So let's see if that will be the case. Gold. All right. So basically, gold, while we were away, it hit our target, almost hit our target of the Fibonacci value. It had a high of 33.79.70. Our target is 33.79.93. But hey, if you're still in it, you're in it, and it's moving higher. So pushing higher. 61.80. That's our target. Actually, our target is our second level of resistance. So we have met our initial target, and we've done beyond that, looking higher, looking to hit that particular value of 33.80. So once we hit, if we hit 33.80, I'm speculating because that's our job, we're speculators, what will be the next eventual catalyst for gold to continue to move higher? Well, the geopolitical uncertainty being built up or continuously to be around the scenario of Russia, Ukraine, now India, China, all of these scenarios are happening and they're real. So can we come in and speculate that 3,400 could be reached this week, or perhaps 3,500? Perhaps. Let's see. Obviously, after having such a nice move to the upside, we are seeing a retracement. This is healthy. This is natural. Repositioning yourself, right? How much of a retracement can we contemplate to see? Well, let's use our favorite retracement tool. Let's just analyze the entire move from this swing low to this swing high. So looking at, I'm going to take out the pivot extension tool. If you're looking at my chart, you'll see that there are color codes. And basically these color codes are yellow, blue, and red. So if the market just retraces to this values, 23.80, 38.20, 50, and then 61.80, and you decide to take a trade, then let's say, for example, you decided that the market will come down towards the 50% value, right? Well, if it does retraces all the way down to 50, the target will be the 61.8%. So if you decide to take a trade when the market comes down towards the 61.8%, the target will be 61.8%. If you decide to take it when the market fluctuates towards the 38.20%, well, the target will be that value, again, 61%. But let me see, where's it at? Let me just take this off. But if you decide to take a trade, waiting for the market to retrace all the way down to 78%, well, your target would be the 20%, 20%. If you decide to take a trade, wait for the market to retrace even deeper, all the way down to the 88.60%, the red level, well, your target will be 10%. Now, this, if you use the fib retracement tool, these values are not gonna show up. They're my values. Okay, if you want to take a look at them, but that's just values that I use, seeing that the market could probably retrace to those levels. Okay, so the market is retracing as we speak. Let me just make this wider. Does anybody have any questions so far? Any questions? Fantastic. All right, so we've seen how the market is retracing. So we've already surpassed the first initial Fibonacci retracement of 23.60. We are in our second candle. Let's see if in this candle the market will actually just continue its trajectory to the upside, because basically what I'm looking at here is that the momentum could be building up to the upside. Let's see if it does a bit more of retracement, since we are sitting right above our first level of resistance, which is now support. So will the market now do a bit more of a retracement towards this level? And this level, 38.20%, from technical analysis theory, if an uptrend, a move, right, in this case an uptrend, is to be sustained, if it's strong enough, technical analysis tells us that the retracement of that move would be 38.20%, and then it will continue its previous trajectory. So we don't have to be precise. I mean, the market doesn't have to come all the way down to the value for that to be applied. We wanted to, obviously we want to, but it could be right now. The market has retraced towards that level, and it's showing us that momentum is being built up, right? It's being built up, and our target is 3380. That would be our target, okay? If that was the case, if the market is showing us that that is what it wants to do. What can help out? Well, if the dollar index drops, but it's not, it actually open gap up in this particular candle, this 5-minute candle, is being closed, but it's pushing higher. So if the dollar index does happen to appreciate, and it does happen to retrace all of this swing low prior to the market opening, then we could probably see pressure being put on other assets, as we're seeing right now on gold. So let's just see if at this moment, as we speak, as we're looking at the charts and how we have it set up, is the market going to push lower and rebound off now what would be a support, which is doing so right now, but it's continuing to trade deeper. So now that it has penetrated or violated our level of support, so now we come in and say, okay, so we're going to speculate that the market could probably continue to trace even deeper towards the 50% and the golden ratio, or is this enough of a retracement for the market to come in and continue to move higher? It's not. It's showing us the opposite. It's showing us it's looking to retrace even deeper. But how much deeper will it retrace? Well, the dollar index tells us a momentum being built up against it or for it. So it moves higher. Now it's pushing lower. So as we see that the dollar index pushes lower, then we should see a recovery or a push higher on gold. We could, or will we, right? Basically, that's what we're seeing. So if you have taken a trade in this area, in this yellow area, your target should be 61.8%, right? Let me just do the values here. Visibility. Oh, it's not. Okay. Show the prices. All right, there we go. So now we're seeing the prices. We have this area. Is going to be taking a trade. Are we going to be able? Are we already in recovery mode and looking to go higher? Hey, it just turned green. So if you have taken a trade in here within this yellow area, your target is up here. Your initial target, to be conservative, will be our second level of resistance with 3380. That would be your next target, right? That would be, if you have taken a trade, your target will be 3380, because that's our second level of resistance that we have placed prior to the market opening. So let's see if that will be the case for gold. Let's take a look at other assets. Take a look at NASDAQ, see what it's doing. All right, so our initial target was almost met. We were shy of it by about 4 pips. Let's see what will happen. If it's retracing strongly, will it find support at the 50-day moving average? And we have the 20-day moving average, or the medium of the Bollinger Band, right below the 50. So let's see if that will be a level where it finds that support. Let's take a look at the S&P. And the S&P is basically right at the 50-day moving average. Well, okay, so it penetrated it. Let's see. Will it move to the upside? Will it make a breakout? Do a breakout to the upside? So we still haven't met our target. We're closer to our target on the NASDAQ than on the S&P. Then we have the Dow. The Dow hit our target, reversed, made a double top. Okay. Let's see how much of a retracement are we going to see on this move. Well, we already surpassed, making all this move, we already passed the retracement. So if it resets itself by retracing all of this move, then we are basically back to zero, right? So let's see what will happen. Crude oil sustaining itself around 66, as I said. So let's see, that was a pivot point, $66 for crude oil. Nat Gas fluctuating around the 50-day moving average, sustaining itself. So that around that level is where Nat Gas is looking to sustain itself. Then we have again gold just rebounding off of our levels. Let's see how much more will this be making this range. You see how it's made a range after a swing high. So it's sustaining itself above our level of support. So that's a positive sign right here. Will it reach? Will it break out to hit our second level? That's the speculation. Then we have silver that has just basically retraced after almost hitting our target. Copper looking to trade lower, or basically within range. Actually, is inside the Bollinger Band. So volatility is not there. We don't have that much volatility in copper. Then we have Bitcoin. You see how the bands are more widened on Bitcoin because volatility is creeping up. So right now in this particular time frame, it's doing what I call an ascending triangle, right? And one way for us to come in and measure, and I'm going to favor the breakout to the upside, is to make sure the entry or the opening, and then either do that or will it do this. If it breaks out, then we have our range. If it breaks out, then we should expect it to reach that level, surpass our level of resistance. If it breaks down, then we'll be looking for it to even surpass the lows that it is making and that psychological value. So it is going to do something. It's going to do something. It's going to break to the upside or break down. Now, will it stay sideways? It could also do that, but I'm looking for it to do a move to the outside, breaking out, and to the upside, obviously. The euro dropping. Ooh, it's just dropping. So let's see if it'll hit that particular level of support, which is a target. Then the pound is also dropping, target level of support. Dollar index has made a parabolic movement, so we'll see pressure on gold, and it has pressure on gold. So far this trade is out. We did hit our first level of resistance, or now support. So that's the case. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. All right, so the Nasdaq is getting ready. I think the Nasdaq is getting set to make a nice move to the upside. Now there's a correlation between Nasdaq and crude oil. The energy asset, and there's an inverse correlation between them. If the asset moves higher, crude oil moves higher, Nasdaq will have pressure to the downside, and vice versa. Now, this asset has open gap up, and is looking mighty strong. So let's see how is that putting pressure. See, inverse movement. Nasdaq pushing lower, crude oil pushing higher. You see the inverse relation there? Pushing lower Nasdaq, crude oil, let's see, push higher. So that's a correlation right there, an inverse correlation, so keep that in mind. Then gold, let's see if gold it will sustain itself. So I'm going to bring up my level of support to 3370. And then my next level is going to be the 50-day moving average. And let's see if that will be a level of interest where we find those buyers sitting around here, because it has retraced out of the morning's move, early morning move, and we basically half an hour into trading session. Bouncing off, silver seems to be catching a bid, looking to do a move to the upside, but dollar index puts pressure on metals and on currencies. Copper is just sideways trading. Bitcoin is breaking up to the downside. So let's see how much more of a downside move will we see on Bitcoin after breaking out of this ascending triangle. The euro, ooh, just on a slide, slippery slope. How much will it reach? I mean, 115 is that psychological level. Let's see if that will be the case. The pound, it seems to be, is about to break that first level of support. If it does break that level of support, target 132,600. And the dollar index, as the dollar index continues to climb and is climbing mighty strong, we'll see pressure on the metal, on the currencies, and that is for sure what's happening so far. So that move to the downside on the pound, the euro also moving lower. Let's see. So Nasdaq pushing lower, even though the asset crude oil is pushing higher, it's pushing lower also. So we're having a sell-off here. Oh, strong sell-off on the S&P. Everything is a sell-off. Something must have happened. We're gonna see what happened, what news came out. And okay, so we're seeing how gold is rebounding off the 33.72. All right, so let's see if now again level of resistance being met. Copper, Bitcoin sideways trading, and the euro pushing lower, bouncing off the level of support for the pound, and the dollar index continues to move higher. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me today. That's it for me for this hour of trading. I hope you liked it. Drop me a question if you have any questions in the future. From Monday through Friday, we're doing the same half an hour prior to the U.S. session market open. We'll come in and look at the market, this 12 assets that you see here. That's what I follow. That's what I speak about. And I will come in and look for some trades. And again, thank you for watching. And this is a new service that Vantage is having for its community. Hope this helped me grow it. If you like it, drop a yes. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time, 8 o'clock New York time, half an hour prior to the U.S. session open. That's when we get started. And that's it for me today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.